Good morning, Professor Maya Dr. Azali. We're a student from KT24403 Operating System, and this is our video presentation for the lab project titled Synchronization Mechanism for Reader-Writer Threads. The members of our groups are Ms. Shami Chen-Shan, Lim Chen-Hang, Isma Daniel Chong-Sun-Fan, and Chen Wei-Jian. In this video, we'll explain our implementation of reader-writer synchronization problem using Java threads, semaphores, and logs.
Hi, my name is Wei-Jian. First, we will import the java.io files, symbol tag format, the utilize, the concurrent, and also the concurrent logs as availability. And then next, we will talk about the reader-writers class. First, inside the reader-writer class, we will have the symbol.txt, and then the semaphore is for control the writers at the runtime, and then the Mutex is for the read count, and we will set the variables read count as a 0. And then for the order type, Boolean running is to control the main root of all of the threads inside the code. And then for the dead formatter, we will use the thread worker with inertia so that it can consistent. Next is the string builder for efficient string operation. Next is writer class. Inside the writer class, we will have name and iteration variables. Inside we have writer constructor with parameter name, and then we will override the run method. Inside the run method, we will see the running. The running is continuous from the thread is true. Then we will use the try and catch exception. Before the letters want to write, we will print the message. Writer is waiting to write. Then when it is ready to write, we will use the method required. When the letter is entered the critical section, we print out the message. Letter start writing to far part, which is the symbol.txt. And then we will use again the try and catch section. Inside the try and catch section, we will see the for writer, bar writer, and the print writer. The for writer with parameter far part, which is the symbol.txt, the 2. Next is 2. The 2 is for the append mode. And then for the string builder, sp equals string builder dot get. This means that we will retrieve the thread record value and then set the length to 0, which means that we will empty the string builder and then we will use it again. For the timestamp, it is retrieve is the variable that retrieve that format. And then we will use the append mode to combine all the format of the information. And then we will use the content variable dot to string so that all format of the information will become string. And then the content will print out in the file and also in the terminal. Which by using the out, just now the printer out, and also the system out. Next, the iteration will increase, and then we'll see the IO exception. We'll print the message where we're waiting to file for writers, and then the message when it face down open to write it. And then we will use the thread.split 2500 to simulate the time that writers take to write. And then that's the end of the critical session. After the critical session end, we will write the release. And then we also will use again the thread.split 3000 so that it have time to write before the writer want to write again. And then for the interrupt session, this call is triggered by shadow. Means that when they have keyboard interrupt, like Control C, it will automatically shut down the process. After the keyboard interrupt, it will show writers and readers has shut down. That's all for me. Thank you.
Next, we move to reader thread class. The code starts with implementing the runnable interface so we can run multiple reader threads concurrently and each reader can stimulate reading the last line of a shared text file. Next is the constructor code. The constructor will assign a name to each reader so we can track its activity in the console output. Next, we move to the entry section for the reader. In this section, we will use a Mutex log to safely modify the read count variable, which track how many readers are active. Next, we move to the critical section of reader. In this section, the reader prints that it's reading, retrieving the last line of the share file, and then display it and simulates reading with a sleep and then finishes reading. And then next is the exit section for readers. In this section, we log the mutex again to safely decrement the read counts. And then lastly is the loop control and shutdown. The thread will sleep to simulate time between the read attempts. The loop will continue until the program signals to stop, allowing an infinite simulation.
Moving on to helper methods, two helper methods are defined to support file setup and reading operation. The self file method is called at the beginning of the program to create or override the share file with a header and timestamp. This helps ensure that each program runs start with a clean and consistent file structure. The read last line method allows reader's thread to retrieve the most recent entry from the share file. It uses render access file to read the file in reverse, making it efficient in locating the last non-empty line. This is particularly useful in simulating a real-world scenario where readers access the latest written data. This helper method improves the functionality and realism of the simulation by managing the file content efficiently while supporting synchronized access.
Hi, I'm Daniel. Now we move on to the main program. First, we create the initial text file by running the setup file function. There is also a text output to display that the simulation is starting. The Control C stop function can only be performed through command prompt, PowerShell, or some supported IDE. Moving on, we also initialize 5 threads to simulate 2 writer and 3 reader scenario. The following code is to fetch the SIG-INT or signal interrupt command, also known as the Control C button. Okay, and the final snippet of code is to start the threads to begin the read-write simulation. As we can see from this video, the simulation simulates the reader and writer synchronization, seemingly like taking turns. The simulation will keep on going until we manually end the program by pressing the end button, or if we're using like command prompt or PowerShell, we can use the Control C signal interrupt function. To elaborate on the output output that we saw just now, the rules of synchronization is as such. When one writer thread is writing, no other writer thread can write into the file. Reader thread cannot read the file during this process as well until the lock was lifted. On the other hand, when reader thread is reading, no writer thread can write into the file. But unlike the previous scenario, this time other reader thread can read the file simultaneously. This concludes our presentation. Thank you.